Hi, it's Nicola Bird here from A Little Peace of Mind. I wanted to create this video for you today as a result of something I heard my colleague say, Mark Howard, Dr. Mark Howard, and he was talking about something he'd seen recently, that there's no such thing as mental illness. It's just a level of consciousness. And as I was reflecting on that, this is what came to me. Imagine there's this pole, right? It's, in my mind, it's like a fireman's pole, right? And it's a greasy pole, so you can go up and down this pole quite quickly and easily. And right at the bottom of this pole is, I guess, psychosis, a profound sense of loneliness, upset, fear, paranoia, thinking that TV screens can control your mind, feeling so terrified and alone, potentially suicidal thinking, really feeling separate from everyone in the world around you with very, very limited options. A little bit further up this pole and there's an experience of a busy mind and stress and panic attacks and sleeplessness and a thinking that the world can get us, can jump in and terrify us and give us a panic attack at any moment. So we need to be on guard. So we walk around in the world scanning, looking, is it going to happen now? Is it going to happen now? Will it happen tomorrow? And our minds are full of this experience, and we're so fearful of being afraid that runs our everyday lives. A little bit further up the pole, and we're kind of walking around in our day-to-day lives like an average person, but with no understanding of how the world works. So we are how the human experience is really created. So we have no idea at this level that our circumstances, the people around us, our environment, have nothing to do with our well-being. We have no idea that it's an inside-out job. So for most of us, we walk around in the world looking to see how we can improve our jobs, our health, our mental well-being, our circumstances. We look to try and change our experience of our thinking. We try and change our experience of life, all going around the outside and looking at people, circumstances and places. How can I change those so that I can feel okay? See, we all have the sense that there's a pole and that it goes up, right? Every one of us knows it. There's a pole and it goes up. It's like, how do I get up the pole, right? Becomes the perennial question, right? So most of us are walking around thinking that if I could just get a better job, if I could just lose 10 pounds, if I could just get my kids to behave, if the coronavirus would go away, then I'll find my well-being. And so we walk around on this level of consciousness. And so we're out and about in the world unquestioningly, just dealing with what shows up in front of our eyes. A little bit further up the pole, and we start to see that we're not our thinking. We start to see that thought occurs, but it's not who we are. We start to see that we're feeling nothing ever but our own thinking. That our experience is being created through thought and then felt. And with that, the understanding of that stops us taking our thinking quite so seriously. We start to see the storytelling nature of it. We start to see that we are something solid and thought comes and goes. And with the result of that, we take our thinking less seriously. And when we take our thinking less seriously, it becomes more quiet. And with more quiet comes more peace and happiness and joy and profound well-being. And then a little bit further up the pole, and there's a sense of being connected to this one energy that there is behind life, a sense that we are part of the oneness. We've all had this experience sitting on the sofa with someone you love, snuggled up tight, and having the sensation that there's no you, there's no them, there's just love. Profound, profound well-being, such quietness, such peace, such joy, contentment, no need, no lack, full. And this pole goes on and on and on for infinity. There's levels of consciousness. Down here, profound feeling of separation, isolation, urgency, and psychological upset. Up here, profound well-being. Now, as I see it, there is no person that's mentally unwell. It's just that all human beings go up and down this pole. Up and down this pole. Now, we don't realise, but left to its own devices, its inclination is up. It's like a cork that floats up to the surface. The natural pull, unlike a fireman's pole, the natural pull is up towards mental health and well-being. And like I said before, we know that. We have a sense of this direction. But what we don't see is that we're already going up and down this pole all day, every day. We have the idea, I'm anxious, I'm stuck at this level of the pole, but it's not true. Because if you look at us, in one moment we feel that feeling of complete love, and another moment we feel completely paranoid and like we're very vulnerable and we're on a knife edge and we're not going to be okay. And then the next minute we're watching TV and we haven't got a thought in our heads at all. And then we feel slightly urgent and worried and pressed for time. And then we feel, we're watching a beautiful sunset and we get a sense of the allness behind life. So there is no such thing as mental illness. There's a temporary level of consciousness experience that manifests as a particular set of behaviours, a particular set of beliefs about the world, about ourselves and our role in it. And then there's a different one here and a different one here and a different one here. Nobody is ever stuck. Nobody is ever stuck at any one of these. These are all possible. And they do show up in the space of a week, in the space of a day, sometimes in the space of an hour. If you look, there is no fixed experience. We all work the same way. Now, I hope that brings you some hope if you feel like you're forever suffering. Maybe it brings a question to your mind about whether that's actually true. And maybe it helps you see that negotiating the paranoia better, manipulating the physical health symptoms or the relationships, managing what it is that we do for a job, like that would be like jumping off the pole at a particular level of consciousness. And what most therapists will do will then help you navigate that world better. What we're pointing to with this understanding in the work that me and my colleagues do is that change happens, peace is found through a shift in consciousness, through a raising of our mood, through a deeper understanding of how life really works. I'm not so interested in you learning how to navigate your particular world, your problematic siblings, your problematic job, your financial circumstances better. I'm interested in you seeing what it means to have a shift in consciousness, because this way leads to more and more and more well-being, and it's available to all of us in a heartbeat once you know where to look. So this has really impacted me. That couple of sentences from Dr. Mark Howard have really impacted me because it changes the nature of the work that I do. When I see that there is no mental illness, it's just, I look at my own daughter, right? She's a teenager. Now, teenagers have really slippery poles, right? So they're up, down, up, down. 1 minute sobbing in bed, nobody likes me. The next minute laughing on FaceTime with her friends. Now, we can get really caught up in looking at all the down this end of the pole. But I'm much more interested in my kids, in myself, and with my clients. I'm fascinated by the amount of times we go up. A lot of my clients are fascinated by the amount of times they go down. I love seeing how every time we come back up. No exceptions. I haven't met a person who doesn't go this way, right? And I'm all about looking at how that happens and appreciating and seeing how effortlessly that happens without you having to do anything at all. And that if I didn't have this understanding, I would look at my teenagers or I'd look at some of my clients and I'd think, you're pretty screwed. Like, your life is rubbish. I agree with you. It is. It's terrible. But it changes it for me when I know that what they're experiencing is a temporary state of consciousness in which all of this looks terrible. But that's not permanent. They're just visiting this state temporarily. It has nothing to do with who they are. It has nothing to do with the likelihood that they'll come back up again. that changes everything in the work that I do, changes everything in the way that I parent, changes everything in the way that I experience my own ups and downs. I get less concerned about myself when I go this way, because I see that we all do, we all work the same. So I hope that's helpful for you in whichever way, and I'll be back with you soon for another video. Take care.